Well, hello people, and welcome to Los Angeles. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We had time for another collab this week. This time I'm in Imperator's insane vanilla build. The German master was kind enough to invite me to build in his vanilla build after he built in Orchid Bay a couple of weeks ago. And I have to tell you, as a fan of Imperator's work for many years, it's a huge privilege to be in one of his cities, and let me tell you, flying around one of them, these things are insane. Like, really cool. Enormous fanboy moment for me. I've got all this over here. It's so nice. Like, you appreciate the videos when you watch them of what he does, but when you see it up close, the definition of different gravy, the guy is nuts. Just some of these vanilla interchanges. The LA River in vanilla. Actual jinkies, everyone. Insane. Wonderful layers of height as well, we all know how much we appreciate a layer on the channel, the farmland, just everything about it, the networks, the layers, the planning. It's a truly wonderful city to behold. So big thanks to Imperator for letting me come in here, and we've agreed that a city does need a little bit of an education expansion, and there's a little spot here next to his farmland where I think we can squeeze in kind of a specialist agricultural college, which should be a lot of fun against his man-made river here. Let's build Imperator, an agricultural college in City Skylines, shall we? Very excited for this one. So the space in which we're building today is right next to Imperator's farmland, so we're going to be doing kind of a agricultural college facility to accompany that design. And we're going to try and respect as much of Imperator's designs here as well. So he's got this big artery that runs parallel with his river. So I'm basically just going to extend that down because I'm assuming he's going to want this to keep running along the river for the foreseeable. So we'll definitely bring this in. We'll just match it with his road guidelines of his pathways, and this can come around up to about there, I think. There we go. So he can use that as he sees fit. And we're actually playing with a different layer here as well. So I think it would be fun to respect those layers and maybe even bring in a little key wall here as well, I think, which we might do with a little bit of flooding. We'll do that, let's just decide where we want this to come up to. Don't want to do too much obvious terraforming to make it look a little bit unnatural. I want to try and keep this natural shape over here. But this should give us a pretty flat base layer to play with here, I think. So Imperator already has a trade school in the city, but he hasn't named it. And because this district is now over where I'm building, you can see where the school has been used across the city as we highlight the district. I think we're going to name it. We're going to go for the School of Hard-Boiled Eggs, I think is appropriate, right? So we'll have this here. And now so we're going to use the freshwater outlet to just pump a little bit of water into this area here, hopefully with relative success. And essentially just looking to flood the road, and you'll see just as that water moves down that we get the key actually to stay in, because it believes it's a shoreline now. So just remove the road so we don't have to deal with the awkward vanilla collision mesh while we're here. And then just keep this going roughly in the direction we had that road in. And this should give us a nice little retaining wall against the campus, hopefully. I think I'm happy with this here. Take this pump out as well now, and we should hopefully have a little stretch up here, take it as far as we can get it. That'll be a good height there, I think, won't it, for the retaining wall to come in. Awesome. So we can have a look in a little bit something like this, which now gives us a little retaining wall to have our campus built against, which would be quite nice. So I do want some roads in here, and I think we're actually going to start with the internal roads first of all, because there's a couple of assets I want to include within this particular campus space. So let's hit a road guideline, probably this one right here, I imagine. I want to try centralize this design kind of in the middle of the campus, and I want to use a few assets here. We kind of did something similar in Orchid Bay, but there was a pretty limited space to work with there. So I want to come into our content creator packs and actually grab the biodome. Again, which isn't an asset we usually see. It tends to be a bit left out, this one. So we'll have this here, okay, and again I think it's going to serve as quite a nice viewpoint from the farms as well. There's a little agricultural college dome over here. So I think I'll be on board with that. Have that there, nice and central in the campus. We'll bring the roads on the side, I think, and then we'll open up the sides here. Because these little path nodes here are actually drawable pathways, so we can have them coming out. And I think it'd be cool to have a direct connection into the farm from the biodome, so we'll allow that to happen there. And also we might actually have enough room here to squeeze in a few trees in between as well for a bit of a design. definitely not against that. We'll have some tree patterns heading back into that farm as well. The map, by the way, if you're wondering, is Mountain Tabor from the Samson Gamer map pack. I really like this one. It's a really pretty map if you haven't seen it. Definitely one of the better ones from Samson Gamer's packs now. If you're wondering where it's from, that is indeed it. I'm lost. Let me tell you, building other people's cities is incredibly disorientating. But there we go, we are back now. And I guess we could also actually hook this into the key wall as well, since we're using a walkable key. Let's turn off that grid snapping as well though. Onto the angle. It'd be fun to have people walking back and two to there, I think. Something like that. Cool. So we'll factor the biodome in. Of course this is going to need that road connection, so we'll bring this down and hook that in a second. But I also want to include the vertical farms as well. Almost as maybe a place where they're, I don't know, testing different plant genes, etc. Different indoor growing techniques. I'm sure any biologists in the comments will inform us of what could possibly happen here. I want to bring these out on little platforms away from the biodome itself. So I think we'll run them like this. Just double check that measurement. We had 240 here. Have that one there. And then we'll bring those holding frames up. And then we'll go for... There's a bit of a design to focus around it. Quite a high-tech kind of space there, isn't it? But we can get on board with them. We have some height over here as well. It certainly stands out in amongst the landscape, doesn't it? So we'll wrap these up with roads as well, and then we know that whatever is left over, we can just use campus pathways now to construct the rest of the facility. And I think we'll just connect them in here. We'll break our pathways, or we could bring the road a little further down, I guess. We even create an entrance through the key wall here, but that would involve moving it. Gonna have to do that awkward water stuff, but we'll get to that in a second. So bring that across, and then we'll just have these pathways come back into the facility here, I think. And we'll also connect back into there as well. And we'll just extend those path connections out here to link people back into across that space if they want to walk. And I guess it would be cool as well to actually keep the pattern going around the side of the farm here as well. But we could even extend it out so it actually has that full kind of wrap around. Which I think, just for the symmetry purposes, is going to be quite nice, isn't it? So I think that's the general premise. We'll run with the vertical farms, and then we can do a lot of detailing in these spaces around it. So we'll also run that design around this edge as well, saving those 2 tile spaces around the bottom. Something like that. And then we'll bring these spaces in, although let's make sure we are actually the right distances. Cool. So big kind of central research facility. We can start surrounding this with some campus assets now. And I definitely want this one here to be tree lined, and we'll feed this back into the road guideline over here on a bit of a freeform curve. And that'll give us some actual connectivity for the campus assets now. So the city is loosely based in and around LA, of course, so we'll stick with the palms. There's a lot of palms in the city, so we'll maintain that there as well. I think it's going to make most sense, isn't it? So we've just got a campus area now, because the rest of the build can all be placed on pathways. So I definitely want to start bringing in some dorms as well. So the campus area currently got up to level 4, and we've got pretty much everything to play with from that. So just needs more students, a bit more campus attractiveness to get to its 5th level. So hopefully we can do that for Imperatur as well. So I want to bring some dorms up and against this campus front here. So let's snap to our angle, and we want to go for 90 degrees here, and also come down from this one as well. And then let's feed that back into the road network. People can actually walk into the campus now. And then I think we'll have some dormitories up and against this key wall here. So students have a place to live. We'll feed a pathway up the side of this one, coming off the angle as well though. Go for there. Then we'll have a second one just there as well. That should be quite a nice drive-by for the campus too. Having some campus assets sat here. I'm a fan of that. And I'd probably appreciate the same aesthetic over here as well. Let's snap back onto that angle. Bring this out as a general holding frame for right now. And just get some more dormitories knocking about the campus in this space, feeding all back to that central, I guess, kind of research facility is the buzzword today, isn't it, for what we're trying to build. A lot of biogenetic research, etc. Cool. So enjoying the campus blocks up against here. Definitely want to have some important assets up against this main road as well. And I don't want to use all of Imperator's unique buildings here, because he does have a few of them left over. But I think school engineering we won't touch. But I could definitely get on board with using the School of Tourism and Travel here if we can figure out the right orientation for it. Because it's a campus asset, we should be able to place it on these dirt roads, which I don't want to leave it here. I do want to flip it around onto a pathway. I guess that's it. It does have parking on the front, doesn't it? So we should probably put that on a road. So I think what we will do is bring out a smaller little glass rind road here. Bring that up to there, and then we'll flip the asset around onto its side, somewhere like that. And I guess that could almost be like a research headquarters, right, for the biodome and the vertical farms, having that in there. Kind of have to suspend our disbelief that it is for tourism and travel, because obviously we're not using it for that purpose. I guess we're trying to kind of repurpose it into like a hydroponics research base. It's a pretty modern looking building as well, so I think it suits that theme, doesn't it? We'll have that here. Also works really nice with those vertical farms in the foreground as well, doesn't it? Or the background, I guess. The labs and the media lab would also be great assets to kind of focus around this central plaza space over here as well. So let's also have a go at that. Let's continue to bring our campus pathways around. Now I'd love to keep giving a lot of breathing room over to these central vertical farms here. So let's bring a path border around them. We'll also continue that path around the side of the school as well. There we go, we've got a fair few people walking up that biodome now as well. It's a really nice centerpiece, the biodome. It was quite an underappreciated asset, I think. Right, cool. So let's have a look at the labs, and again, if we can get it to sit nicely within one of the spaces, probably about there. It's going to sit nicely against that vertical farm, isn't it? Kind of another research facility over that side. It's very freeing coming in and building a campus that's already a high level. You don't have to wait for it to level up. And definitely the media lab as well. These are really nice buildings, the media lab. So I certainly want to make a bit of a song and dance about this one over here as well, as we continue to bulk up this central facility. But I think I'll have I think we'll place this media lab on the corner here. Start expanding the path network over this side. Getting lots of interconnectivity for people. We'll also come down here as well. Just come away from that grid snap because we're near the key. Oh, how close is your collision mesh to that? Can get it on there? Yeah, I'm happy with that. So, Media Labs is a big, important asset. We'll have this over here as well. And I think we'll bring the Media Labs over this side. Let's go ahead and hook in some grid frames around our School of Tourism and Travel, or School of Hydroponics, I guess is what it's been repurposed to now. And then we'll have our Media Labs here on the corner. Really nice asset, Media Labs. Got a great staircase on it, which is a sorely appreciated aesthetic in vanilla cities, isn't it, having stairs? So we'll have that here. And it's going to line this nice entrance into the campus as well, isn't it? Driving past all these important buildings. Orientation always incredibly important, of course. So we'll also repeat this pathway design that's happening on this side as well. And we'll keep it running parallel in the grid frames with the road. Just back to the start of the campus, or the entrance to it at least. Off that grid snap on road length here, we'll do this one manually. Cool, and I'm tempted to even have these ones as tree lined, just to mimic the roads there. And can we even go for California Shorty here, next to the proper California palms? Yes, I think we can. I think we can get away with that. Kind of a fancy tree line campus there, isn't it? We'll definitely get a fence around this perimeter as well during the D-turn time lapse today. Cool, so let's have a look at the stats now. It is pushing student numbers and attractiveness up, so we'll at least get it to level 5 for Imperator today, hopefully. So let's also have a bit more recreation for students here as well, rather than having it kind of all work, if you like. Although we definitely want to just slope this out a little bit though, so it's not quite as... We've also got a bus over here as well, haven't we? So that's going to be some good interconnectivity for people wanting to get to the campus. I don't think I'm missing out on any other transit links. There is also a train station here as well. Look at that, what a clever design. For the trains coming down there. So cool, of a way of factoring a layer of height, that, isn't it? Incredibly creative. Delicious, really nice. But yeah, I think we're good for public transit. There's buses and trains here, so I don't need to bring in my own. I think it's going to be alright. Yes, so let's get some recreation in for them. So we'll go for... I think we'll bring in a study hall, which of course is the home of Prepare 2 exams. And we'll have this And the orientation of this asset is always super important. Definitely want this side here facing this kind of inner mall here. So what we will do is just bring that campus pathway behind, snap into the grid there as well, bring that through, and now we just want to flip it around on this one here. So it sits against this side. Well, it will say it won't fit, but it's fine. We'll just redraw the pathways in, connect the path through here as well. And that looks like a cute little space there for one of the clubs. Can we do a book club? What's the other one? It's the IT club, I think, isn't it, in the trade school? And then we'll also drop in the beach volleyball club here as well. Although maybe this probably should be over here, I imagine, rather than too close to the hydroponics facility. Let's actually shift it over this side. I don't really want the volleyball court exposed to the towers. I don't think I actually appreciate the volleyball court here. I think we'll go for an IT club instead, actually. Yeah, that's definitely the better shout, isn't it? So we'll have that in, getting a few students now walking into the campus as well, which is good. So we do have a little bit of fertile land here, and I'd be quite keen to try. And now he's got mixed farming and forestry, which is a really cool aesthetic, so I want to make sure I'm grabbing the farm area. So I'd love to have almost like a couple of practice fields here that maybe the students or the scientists at the university could use to test theories or ideas or whatnot, and before they kind of, you know, put into industrial scale farming. So I think we'll do a little fused campus industry area over here, and we'll bring in a little dirt road as well to hold our fields, and let's have a look at exactly what asset we want to use here. So let's go into our farming stuff, and we want to use probably small fruit fields of the vibe, I think. Yeah, we'll do a couple of small fruit fields. We do have the fertile land here as well. Then I want to save the space in between each of them. And then we'll bring in those campus pathways in between. So it's like students can come down here and form various bits of research, or I guess it's just research, isn't it? there's not much more than that. And I reckon another IT club here actually would serve as a nice way of kind of adding like a little bit of admin over here for said research. So very tight fusing between campus and industry. And then we'll have an IT club there where students can record their findings, etc. Take part in research over this side. And we'll also make sure that that fence wraps up this area too. So the fruit fields are part of the campus to practice on rather than part of the farm itself. That should be quite a cool aesthetic to blend into the detail in there, I think. So let's bring in some further campus assets now. We will connect these pathways together over here. We'll also wrap up our labs with a pathway 2. Let's bring it around the side. And then we'll also bring this one as well, so it hooks in with that as well. I think I'm going to move the media lab actually onto this side. I suppose it's that staircase to the central court again, isn't it? And then I'd love some airport apronage here, actually, if we could afford it. Can we place them side by side to expand the courtyard around the back of that? I think we can, and then we'll draw the pathway back over that there. Kind of extends the yard out for us there, doesn't it, at the back of the media lab. Cool, so we've got a really modern facility coming together here now. There's definitely a little more space here for some further assets, isn't there? What haven't we used yet? We've got the bookstore, which I don't really want here. Auditorium also yet to be used. Can we have this here without destroying the terrain? Yeah, we can. Okay, so we'll have the trade school auditorium there. And I want to make the entrance into the campus as impressive as that kind of central research space there. I think I'll be happy with that. More path connectivity in there as well. We'll mimic path designs as they come out either side of this kind of central entrance as well. Yeah, that's good. And you're going to come around the back here too? Everyone going to play fair? Wonderful news. Get that connected in too. Make sure everyone can walk. So let's bring in a few more assets now, just to hit that level 5, and then we can start detailing up this whole complex here. Look on top road length, feed this over. And want a few more assets over this here. We haven't used the library yet, which is always a nice one. So I think we'll shift the trade school labs onto this angle here, but what we will do, because that angle there is just ever so slightly out. We'll bring it across without connecting it, then line it up so it's straight, and then we'll just break that, and then redraw it at the angle, and that way it'll still remain connected. We'll have that there. And how far does that leave us off of the level there? So we've just got a little bit more campus attractiveness to bring in. And we'll definitely have a cafeteria over by the kind of recreation side of the campus as well, I think. And then let's also bring in a bookstore too. See where we might be able to factor this in, probably over here, I imagine, at the head of this design over this way. Cool, and then we'll bring in a lot of forest over here as well. And maybe we could also have a little kind of beachside pathway here, because Imperatur has used some pathways, so I think it'd be cool if we could just have a little kind of riverside walk for students, a bit of a nature park for them to enjoy. That'd be quite nice by the river here. We'll move around the rocks, so I'll let Imperatur decide whether or not he wants to keep those in. And then we can factor that back into the road over here as well. And probably up to the campus as well, I imagine. We're going to have quite a thick forest around the back of this space, I think. Which we'll bring in during the detailing. And let's also put that back in as well. Cool, and then we'll have some more dirt paths that feed back into that farm. And create a bit of a forest and fence border between the actual industrial farm itself and the sort of hydroponics research university, if you like. But that is the bulk of our assets in, I think, really respecting those two towers and the biodome as the focal point of the build. But let's get it all detailed up now. Lots of trees, fencing, bushes and designs around it for a bit of prop work in the middle there as well. And kind of generally just settling this university campus into the designs here today. But otherwise, let's do some detailing and then we'll be right back. Right guys, let's have a little detailed review of what happened, shall we? So this place has turned out really unique, definitely one of the most unique campus spaces we've ever done. So it introduced a bit of parking out the front here in front of our major buildings next to the bus stop, which is really nice. I love the approach into the campus here from the main street. That looks really cool. Then as we come down, we enter the main street and the whole kind of campus has been fenced off now with a little tree line around it. Repeated bush patterns around our palm designs as we enter in, and again, orientation of all these buildings really important, all facing into this kind of main central mall and strip design as we come down. Super heavily mirrored tree designs around the vertical farms, as you'll see, the kind of mirrored. You've got the silver birches here in these particular shapes, and the ones with the tighter angles have a palm, and then an oak in the offset without the bush, and then the trees or the pathways are also mirrored all the way around them, so really giving kind of a lot of respect to these vertical farms, making them kind of the focal point of the campus of this kind of hydroponics biological research center. Really cool. In around our farm fields, dropped in some nature reserve fences just to kind of indicate, you know, that these are kind of maybe test fields where, you know, things are put into practice before they're introduced into industrial scale farming like Imperatur has over here. So hopefully it kind of ties in with the build like that. I think it's a pretty nice way to blend industry and campus together. Furthermore, just got all our assets placed around here, more tree and bush detailing all the way around. There's some new plazas and fountains over the back here as well, alongside a little trail down onto the nature reserve over here, which comes down towards the river, which I didn't want to do too much with. I don't know what Imperator has planned for this part of the city, so if he needs to rip this out, then he can do. And we've also just drawn across that temporary bridge as well, but again, if he needs to tear any of this out, then he can. Don't want to do too much to it, because like we said, we don't know what he has planned. For this particular area, returning more key sits in nicely now. They're actually using it to change from one path to the other, so the walkable key is getting use, and then again we just got more bush. And nice designs all the way around here, more fountains through here as well. Some tables here outside of the cafeteria, so people can enjoy a little bit of outdoor space if indeed they need to, with a couple of bin props knocking about as well. And again, the whole, the vertical farms and the biodome really draw your eye from wherever you are in the facility. I love being creative with campus, definitely one of my favourite DLCs. And really fun to come and build one in Imperator City. And then all our pathways link through here back to the pathways, and there's just a ton of people walking around the campus. There's a bit more parking over here next to the School of Tourism and Travel, which I guess we're going to repurpose into the School of Hydroponic Research, I guess, is what it is now. And then it just sits here, and again, you know, those vertical farms and the biodomes really take your attention from wherever you sat and from further around in the city as well. It's a real eye-drawing facility. I'm really happy with the way those two towers kind of poke out the rest of the campus. It really kind of distinguishes the build, doesn't it, from kind of the sprawl all the way around it. And yeah, I really enjoyed this campus. Definitely one of the better ones we've done, and a very unique one at that as well. But otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for today. Let's thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, likes, comments and shares below do help me out, and if you are new to the channel, do consider subscribing. We have a lot of vanilla and modded City Skylines content on the channel. So please do go check it out, and there'll also be some links down below as well to my series if you want to come and watch more of my content. An enormous thank you to Imperator. I've been a fan of his content for many years before I even started making City Skylines content, so to be in his amazing Los Angeles build and actually making him a campus is a super big fanboy moment for me. So big love to Imperator for letting me come in, and if you haven't seen his Air Force Base build in Orchid Bay, do go and check that out as well. It's on his channel, and I'll leave it linked down below too. Please do enjoy some cinematics of Los Angeles, which is not something I thought I would ever say. But otherwise, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.